continues to thrust it
Ben,
into the
what are you
zeitgeist
showing us?
as if this is what Democrats care about. As if this is what Democrats are talking about.
Yeah. What
Ben?
a second
Say again?
Trump presidency would mean for trans people like me.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Brian Tyler Cohen taking on the entire Piers Morgan panel. Piers Morgan and Brian Tyler Cohen, they're talking about the trans debate. Brian Tyler Cohen is making some great points. Let's get into it.
CAA that's not allowing athletes or the Olympic Committee in boxing at the Olympics. We all watched it, men beating the hell out of women. And then you say it's not an issue of the left. If it's not the left that's doing this, then who is it? Because it sure as hell isn't the right.
Yeah.
And this is why I go back to the point. You lose elections when you lie to the American people to their face and you say, we're not doing this, when everybody sees you're doing it.
Well,
let me again.
First of all,
hang on. Let me again bring in Brianna, because you are Brianna. Hang on. Let me bring in a trans woman, just who's put her hand up. I know
this is my whole problem with all of this, Piers, is, look, respectfully, the liberal shows here, you're right. You don't talk about trans issues. You don't invite people like me on. We don't have a say in our own party. And what has happened? This fringe progressive nutjob part of our party has hijacked my movement as well as we've hijacked so many other movements. Look at black people. Do you think black people want their local police department burned down and like defund the police? Of course they don't. Do you think most women want to shout their abortions? Of course they don't. Trans people are just the latest victim. And the problem is the left, like, respectfully, trans people don't have a voice on the left. So you're listening to this non-binary communist Hamas supporting fringe, and they're the ones talking to Kamala and saying, like, look, unless you stand with like vaginoplasty in prison, you're a transphobe. So of course the entire party is going along with that. The problem is then it gives Ben and his ilk this ammunition. So they're the only ones talking to America about these issues. You heard him say a bunch of stuff here that's just not true.
Okay.
And we have to deal with this.
What did I say that's not true? Hold on. From
think
one
if
Ole
you're
Miss grad to another, what did I say that was
The-
not true?
I
Because
will
there's
tell you,
nothing that
I'll
I just
happily
said
tell you.
there.
The woman that was in boxing, we're not sure yet. I personally believe she's intersex, but that is a different issue than calling her.
Well, actually, that's not right. No.
There was two boxers.
Brianna, hang on.
Please, if I'm wrong, let
The
me know.
latest report, the latest report is that, hang on, I can answer that. The
Yeah.
latest report
Please.
that came out of France, an investigation that came out of France last week, is that Iman Khalif, who won the gold medal, who fought an opponent who quit after 40 seconds because she'd never been hit that hard, that Iman Khalif...
And here we have conservatives doing conservative things. They are going to be completely obsessed about trans issues. They're going to be the ones who are making it the biggest thing in the world. This is a clear threat to their family system, to the whole thing, to where the father runs the show, to where the dad is the one who makes all of the rules. Well, as soon as there starts to be other family systems and other ways of being, then, oh, well, now this is a threat. I don't know how to be flexible in my own self. I don't know how to be flexible in my own masculinity, to the point to where I can allow that to happen. I can allow different things to go on. Like, if you're not, that's the whole part about it, is that this whole idea of the right having this strong idea of masculinity, it's the difference. It's an idea in which that's why they're saying, that's why they have a problem with this whole idea of trans women in the first place, trans people in the first place, is that they have such a strict value on what it is to be a man that it becomes so fragile. This whole idea, like toxic masculinity, fragile masculinity, they're one and the same. If you as a man can't learn when to submit, you have to know when to submit, when to dominate, because otherwise you can't always be quote unquote on. You can't always be, you can't always be the strong, strict father role. You have to be, because they're getting threatened so much by trans issues, it's just showing how fragile and how weak they truly are.
Has the male chromosomes, and that's why she was banned from the World Championships along with one other fighter.
No.
And there's been no actual proof that she doesn't have male chromosomes. So for all intents and purposes, I'm afraid it looks like she is a biological male,
Which means they didn't lie.
albeit not a full biological male. In other words, my understanding from that investigation is that she has male sexual reproductive organs, but not completely.
It's a dude.
But what it does do,
it
gives her the advantage of male biology, which means that she won the gold medal. Look, I want to segue out of this, Brianna.
I don't support trans women in women's sports. Just to be clear, we didn't transition.
Piers, can I try something real?
Most of us are under socialized computer.
You know what? Here's the thing. If I'm a liberal, Brianna, and I've spent the last 4 years trying to tell my liberal mates, get off this bullshit about trans athletes destroying women's sport, it may be this election result should serve as the reminder to people, get off this thing.
Exactly.
Because people don't want to hear it.
The only time that I've heard this issue...
Let me give Brian the final word on this. Brian?
Yes.
The only time that I have heard or debated this issue is literally with you and other people who accept right-wing framing on this issue. So the only people who are continuing to perpetuate this as an issue, it is right-wing framing because
I'm not right-wing. So how can it be right-wing framing?
We're not talking about it. Again, the only time I hear about it, you can watch MSNBC, you can watch communist, Marxist, MSNBC all day long. You will not hear this issue. The only reason that it's put into the zeitgeist on a daily basis.
Let me bring in Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin.
Every day on my show.
Dave
They
Rubin.
talk about this stuff. Listen, how about let's try it this way with a simple yes or no answer. Let's try a simple yes or no question to Pac-Man and the guy in the hoodie.
Right there.
Let's try it this way.
Right there on my phone. MSNBC. There's LGBTQ in breaking news right now on MSNBC. Like, I love calling out the BS. It's right there, MSNBC, on my phone.
Dude,
I don't know what that is.
It must be just right-wing funded phone.
Dave Rubin.
Oh, my God.
Dave Rubin.
Yeah, Piers, I'll try this very simply for our progressive friends here, for Pac-Man and the hoodie guy. If you guys I don't know if you guys have kids, but if you had a 14-year-old girl and she was a wrestler, would you be okay? Yes or no? No other words. Yes or no? Would you be okay with her wrestling a 14-year-old boy?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I wrestled for a decade, and men and women wrestle together. That's how it works.
Please
If you guys like this content, make sure to subscribe.
stop advocating this. It hurts me. It hurts.
That's how it works. I wrestled for a decade. There is no distinction between men and women.
You have a progressive warrior fighting for you.
I've actually got I have a better question. I have a better question. Hang on, I have a better question, Brian.
Frankly, I thought Miss
I have a better question.
I
have a better question.
Maybe he knows.
If Floyd Mayweather says, I'm now identifying as a woman and wants to fight against a female biological actual woman, Brian, would you be happy with that?
No, of course not.
So you agree?
It would. Yes,
You agree?
but we're having two different. Piers, we're having two different conversations. I'm saying that the reason the vast majority of Americans, think that this was the #1 issue in this election cycle is because a well-funded right-wing media ecosystem continues to thrust it into the
what are you
zeitgeist
showing us?
as if this is what Democrats care about. As if this is what Democrats are talking about.
Yeah. What a second Trump presidency would mean for trans people like me. Headline MSNBC as we speak. But MSNBC never talks about trans issues at all. Yeah, there it is.
Must have access to some sort of
let me go to Dave Rubin and change subject. Dave Rubin, I want to play you a clip. Hang on.
Yes.
Let's change subject. We've done the trans debate. Hang on.
I have a phone too, and it has MSNBC on it. Democrats would get nothing for throwing trans Americans under the bus. Where did we get this thing? This is incredible.
Look, you guys can think it's like some gotcha to that MS acknowledges
I'm changing the subject.
That MS acknowledges the existence of trans people.
I'm changing the subject.
That doesn't mean that this election cycle. That this election cycle was some referendum on trans Americans.
Brian, I am changing the subject. We're running out of time. I want to discuss other.
Here, we have Piers wanting to cut it off before Brian Tyler Cohen can really make his entire point. Which, to any right-wing person who's watching this right now, or any conservative, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, they did. They got him good. They got him good." That's all the left wants to talk about is like, shut the freak up, dude. The whole point of it is like the right has their whole argument already set up against what it is to be transgender, against how it is to do that. And the entirety of the left has an argument that hasn't really been thought out. The only type of left argument that is having to defend and having to react against the right-wing speaker heads, like Piers Morgan right here, against the framing of people like Dave Rubin against all of these different, attempts to attack the people, then you have a reaction, and now that reaction has become the entire argument. It's not, they haven't even really built a story out on what the story is. They haven't been able to make a case because we, like the progressive, have to react and have to, go against, which automatically assumes them as it's like a us versus them thing. And of course, it just creates such a bad argument instead of you being able to create your own speaking points, being able to create your own frame on the issue. Now as progressives, what Brian Tyler Cohen is saying, that you have to act within the frame. But that's Brian Tyler Cohen versus the entire Piers Morgan panel, it seems like. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's another day in the progressive way.